things like you like one thing you like, one thing you didn't like, and then people can just chime in.
Yeah. This is a very free flowing conversation.
Let's
This one's going to be the most.
Let's riff.
It's as if you walked into a store and you heard us randomly talk, which happens all the time actually, where people come in. And I'm always angry that I don't have recorder out. It's like, save it! Don't shut up, everyone. Wait till I press record.
Mic drops from the ceiling.
Yeah, I would say mic from the ceiling, so you like. And another thing.
It's kind of like those boxing ring announcers just drop from the ceiling. And just like,
let's get ready to roll.
Save this juicy topic for the podcast.
All right.
Anyways, meanwhile, in the comic book studio, welcome everyone to the Heroes World podcast. We are here in the Heroes World studios.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
What's up?
I am here with Justin, Andre, Neil, John, and myself, Stuart. And we are here for our year in review, as everyone else does on the planet. Every show does a year in review. This is our take on it. It's going to be very much, as you heard from the beginning of the podcast, free-flowing. We're going to discuss a little bit about things we liked in the year, things we didn't like in the year. And again, in case, we'll talk about some big stuff and some small stuff, but you'll get a kind of a wrap-up of all the things that thumbs up and thumbs down. So I'll let it to the distinguished pundits. I'll let each one say whatever they want and things we liked and what we didn't like. Go.
Okay, so I'm gonna start with things. Okay, this
things
is
we liked. How about that?
Okay, the thing with is weird because I was gonna say TV because I'm liking this kind of new golden age of TV we kind of have where it's there's a lot more shows that are based either based on something or have really strong premises. And that's really kind of a cool concept. Where before, listen, look at the '70s. Where people were watching Flying Nun, and that seems really shitty. So, so I mean or My Mother the Car. Those were TV shows. But now we have the stuff stuff with higher concepts kind of coming through, Last Resort and really cool stuff like that. But so that's something I really do like about this year, where it had to kind of come into a really big fruition. But at the same time, even as something kind of we don't like. Well, I'll have more on that later when it comes to TV, because TV's kind of this double-edged sword, or you're just fickle mistress, if you will. But yeah, TV this year, good work.
What's solid? What's your
What's your top favorite show?
Yeah, random blanket of awesome.
What
do you like on TV?
TV right now, I'd say, listen, as much as Stu's not having any of it, Arrow's been, again...
Arrow's good, Stu. You're coming over and you're watching Arrow. Done.
You gotta understand. Listen, I'm not saying Arrow's the
Don't
greatest
assume
thing
it's
ever
a
made.
new Smallville with Green Arrow. That's everyone's biggest worst assumption.
Yeah.
It's not. Whereas Smallville was this kind of Dawson's Creek teeny bopper love triangle kind of formula. Arrow seems to be coming in as a mature adult kind of sci-fi actioner.
Action adventure show, and it's solid.
That's really working.
Okay.
Again, Walking Dead is the hugest
Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, Juggernaut on the planet right now in terms of TV. Now Stu has his apprehensions, but at the same time though,
there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Listen, at the same time though, last week's episode introducing one of my favorite characters from The Wire, actors from The Wire, into Walking Dead as one of the best characters from the book. That's again a really good way to go, and the fact that Walking Dead has done this most amazing thing where it's kind of based on the book, but loose enough that it's not that I can still kind of follow and be entertained by what's happening and not know what's going to happen. That's actually one of the most brilliant things that you should actually got to be doing for more TV, more adapted material TV shows, right? Or even movies, where it's not just don't just regurgitate what I've read already. Just give me something new. So that was pretty good. And what else to say with TV? Well, again, Last Resort was again as a mini series, Last Resort would be amazing. But when they're claiming it's going to go on forever, it's you guys may not want to hit your horse to that wagon so fast, But yeah, so TV overall, I'll give it not an A+, but we'll say B+ or A-, that kind of area. That's what's going good right now in the world of TV. And yeah, I'll talk more about TV later. More's coming.
All right, who wants to chime in next?
All right, I'll go
I'm
next.
just going to say newsroom.
We don't talk about TV. We're talking about what we like.
You talk about what you
You're
want.
chiming on TV.
Oh, well.
You can do whatever you want. This is a free-flowing conversation.
If you're not watching the newsroom, don't talk to me. But,
but
yeah,
shots fired.
It's been a good year, and stuff that I've liked. I'm going to say the comics. The best thing to happen to comics, kind of this year and last year, DC's New 52. Why is it the best thing to happen to comics? because it made all the comic companies pull up the damn socks, and now we got Marvel Now, which is so far, it's only been a month in, and it's been excellent.
People are reading them, and that's
people are reading them, and it's good books. So last year, 2012 saw some fantastic comics. I don't want to say the word renaissance or anything, but there was just some awesome stories, great characterization, the return of the writer as the powerhouse. We've talked about Scott Snyder's Batman. We've talked about Rucka's Punisher, Brian K. Vaughan on Saga, Manhattan Projects is Hickman. This has been a time that's, I would say, unprecedented for the quality and diversity of comics, and I don't think we would be having the success that we have if DC didn't say reset button, and it brought people to the door. And what is the sincerest form of flattery? Imitation, boys, right?
Yeah.
Marvel, let's start everything back at number one. Fine, they didn't reset their universe, but you can't tell me that DC didn't shake the shit up, and other companies are looking at it, and I'm very, very looking forward. I'm very excited about what 2013 can be for comics, especially, like I said, Marvel Now. Like we talked about Hulk, it's one issue in. Hopefully, the next issue comes out. We're gonna have, a great year next year.
So if we had the Heroes World Awards, the 2012 best comic series,
I would pick Batman.
I think it goes to Batman hands down. Yeah,
I would make
no
an argument
question.
for X-Force, and I would make an argument for a couple of the Image books.
I'd make
Batman.
So the Heroes World seal of approval, you would say Batman was the best.
Comic
listen,
of
2012.
I love Aquaman, and
the
honestly,
Aquaman challenge stands.
The Aquaman challenge stands, and it's a solid book. But goddamn Batman, you know what I mean? It is just month after month.
Really?
Just
I follow him on Twitter. Goddamn Batman.
it's Scott Snyder and I would. Wow, I don't want to put myself in a corner, but I'd have to say writer of the year to Scott Snyder. And it's not just for Batman. His American Vampire, brilliant. Swamp Thing. Maybe fewer people are kind of following his other stuff because his Batman's so good and it's Batman's mainstream. And then next year we got him and Jim Lee doing Superman.
Big year for Superman.
Superman's
gonna be back.
If
better be.
Marvel needs to get something, because that's like your Cold War nuclear deterrent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like Jim Lee, Scott Snyder, Superman. What you got, Marvel? I don't know what do you guys think? What could Marvel counter with for that? I don't.
Todd McFarlane's
Spider-Man. Yeah.
With Bendis.
No,
Or is
Bendis is off Spider-Man, right?
Exhausted.
I would-
Yeah,
Wade,
and
maybe.
Honestly,
McFarlane.
I
If
would
McFarlane
say
came
even
back,
Dan Slott's still works. Dan Slott's pretty good
that's
writing
right,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
he's a great writer. But
we'll see how many people he
this
pisses
imagination.
off
Are we
with
just talking
700.
about McFarlane coming back? For
we're
we're
just talking about.
That's
It's like
just
what?
Give him your
scenario.
opinion.
Well, that would be kind of Marvel's rival
The
to Jim
equivalent
Lee.
of, yeah.
Would I think have to be someone like a Todd McFarlane?
And
I can't think of anyone who's a name as big as Jim Lee.
Well, even if Quesada said he's going to draw the next something like Quesada and I don't know, Brubaker with Rucka on, and it's like a great character that we haven't seen or whatever. But just Quesada, you're not getting 2 issues out in the year, so it doesn't matter. That is going to be DC. They're winning this arms race. So comics for me, I would say bam, 2 thumbs up for 2012.
I would have to agree. That was going to be my answer too. Is this was the year of comics? I sort of really got back into comics a couple years ago, and just this year with the whole New 52, Batman, having my horizons broadened by reading more Marvel books, more Image books. It's just been a great, enjoyable hobby, and every week I'm picking up something that's enjoyable. I'm looking forward to something. There's a new book in the works that I'm excited for. So there's just a lot of sort of positive energy and positive momentum in the comic book industry right now, and that's just a real good thing to see. Sort of take what Andre said, I'm really impressed with Image this year. They're still not quite at the level of the other two, Marvel and DC, but I really think they've sort of carved out, a sort of a solid niche for themselves. They've built a very solid foundation with, a few really solid flagship books. And again, they've sort of now kind of planted the flag, and you're starting to see other creators, as this is
rally
now
to it.
Yeah.
are excited to work for them and do stuff with them. And like Andre was saying, there are so many awesome writers out right now that the sky's the limit.
Image is now the new home of the creator owned, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like,
Their kind of image before was where the high art style.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now they're getting on to this kind of whole art, like writing.
But even the books
niche
themselves, like
genre.
the quality of the paper they're
Yeah,
using,
they're actually-
the
well,
lack
they're
of
making good
advertising,
comics.
it's just a different spin.
Stuff coming out
It's a
on time.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and also having like even like when something's over, a cheap paperback for it, so you're
Yep.
not like oh
Yep.
man, like I was buy this, but it's like
Or even when a book goes on hiatus, it's organized, right?
Yeah,
Like
they
Saga
tell
goes
you.
on hiatus, they say, okay, we're going on a break for a couple months, we're going to have the trade, and then we're going to be back in 2 months. And
Yeah.
sure enough, they're back in 2 months. And it's just, it allows you to, it keeps the momentum going, and, it keeps you excited for the books.
And on that note, for momentum and stuff, comics right now have never been as accessible.
Yep.
Like, there's been so much media and so much kind of like everything's comic book related, the movies, television show, stuff online and stuff. But now, literally, like, people can come in. If you've never read a comic, you've got all the new Marvel #1s. The DC New 52s, they're on issue 14. Most of them you can get all the back issues for,
And the
or
trades.
the trades and hardcovers are available. The Image stuff, they
Yeah.
get 6 issues in. They've traded it. So if you have ever wanted to, or even had the thought or inkling, say, you know what, I really like the Avengers movie. What do you got that's Hulk wise? Boom, you can get it. What do you got that's Iron Man? Boom, you get it. What do you got that's Thor? or just like, hey, there's a new
Well, it's now
Superman
all- yeah,
coming.
now all there
like,
for
yeah,
you,
it's,
right?
it's now all there. It's never been easier to get into comics. Sure, there's a lot of rich history and stuff, but I don't think it's ever been this easy.
Well,
you
again,
know?
like I think like when it comes to comics, like how we all kind of started comic is you just picked up a book and started going, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was never like, oh, I have to read like everything to kind of figure out what happened before I pick up this first issue. It's like, no, I'm just gonna grab a first issue.
This cover
and-
looks good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
let's
try
go.
it.
I really, it's really easy like that. So, more comics.
Yeah, for sure. DC's New 52, successive Avengers, successive Batman, maybe even some of the online digital comics. Like as much as we might hate to say it, maybe people are checking them out online and going, "Hey, I want a paper version." Screw this
Yeah.
holding my
I want to start collecting. Or
2-pound iPad in my bed while I'm trying to
Yeah.
read. My fingers are getting tired. Whatever. I will also say the new resurgence in board games. It's been growing like past years, and I think like this year. There's so many good games. I know Kickstarter is firing up a lot of things there, but I do like the games that have actually been planned out and produced. All the old classics are pretty much available. Like Merchant of Venus just came out. There's reprints of every like classic desirable game aside from Hero Quest, but who knows what's going to happen there. But
Yeah, Hero
like,
Quest.
there's
So what
just
would you say the game of the year would be?
game of the year? There's so many to choose
talk.
from.
Well,
there's, like,
just from this year in production.
Lords of Waterdeep has been really hot. A lot of the new games just came out like over the last couple months, so it's hard to say what's going to be tops in my mind. Like Netrunner came out with a huge splash. That's a card game designed by Richard Garfield. I really like Spartacus.
Gilbert brought a copy of Quarriors, and I know you had that.
Quarriors is
It's
super hot.
the
Like,
greatest.
Some of these games
It
might have
was-
came out like
yeah.
the year before that, but they're kind of some
But
of them have
overall-
gone out of production and disappeared and come back. Like just because they've been so hot, a new game called Eclipse, which is probably came out in 2011 or so, and we're just starting to see restocks of it now. Like there's just so much good stuff. Like I want to try it all. Unfortunately, it's tough to open every single copy we get in the store. We're gonna go broke that way. But there's just an abundance of games. There's lots of good things going on with it, like Big Bang Theory. Love or hate the show, they're doing a lot of product
Yep.
placement. Will Wheaton, love or hate him, he's doing a great thing for the industry, like doing webcast tabletop, like full episodes where you get to see him and a bunch of celebrity friends play an entire game. There's no shortage on board game podcasts. And then again, Kickstarter's getting attention too. People want to be part of the creation of some new game, or they have a game that they want made, and they can go to something like Kickstarter and bring it out. And the great thing about the Kickstarter games is once they get off the ground, if you don't want to contribute to Kickstarter, they are hitting retail as well. Zombicide, huge sensation on Kickstarter. We are getting it at the retailer level, so you don't have to contribute to Kickstarter waiting for Kickstarter. You could have just waited for it to hit retail wise, and we'll have those great games.
But you can't think of one that tops your head, top of your mind, then for Game of the Year.
In my mind personally,
that came out this year, or or kind of
that came out this year.
Oh,
the two games that I've been like just really jonesing to play the most of right now is probably Spartacus. And I'm surprised that I would choose an intellectual property type game that's based off a TV show, but they did a lot
That's
of
based
really,
off a movie.
It's based off of history though.
Yeah, that's how all great things are made. It's a TV show that's
the
based
game's
off of...
great. Like they brought it in at a $40 mark. It's the first
Yeah.
game produced by Gale Force 9 and Battlefront Miniatures. This is their first outing into it, and they put so many good elements into the game and kept the cost down that I think it's really great. And just the flavor of the game, like I'm a fan of the show. That's why maybe I want to play this game even more. And then the new sensation of the DC deck building game, I'm rocking that game like almost every day. I've played a game of that game. And it's just so much fun. You flipping through the cards. It makes me want to go back and read my comics. Makes me itching for expansions, all that kind of stuff. Like there's just so many. Like I could talk about board games for a whole podcast.
Anyone else have a game of the year or?
I don't know when it was published, but I think one of the games that has done exceptionally well, and I think for me kicked off the success of or put Will Wheaton's tabletop on the map for our store was Small World.
Yeah, he covered Small World in the first episode of his.
And that game
tabletop.
has been just selling like we can't keep it in stock. And I've played it. It's a lot of fun, and just playing it and being able to explain it to new people coming in and checking out board games, and that they, you can tell these people have like, oh, I've only played the Game of Life, I've only played Monopoly. What do you got? And then I said, have you heard of Small World? Like, oh yeah, I might have saw that video. And they take it and they try it out, and then they come back and they say, great recommendation. What else do you got? Yeah. And that's kind of I think one of the positives of being in a store like this is we get to deal with the customer directly. And once we make that recommendation, they come back, and your word is gospel. So as long as you steered them right, and John knows the board games,
and that's
like
how
the
many
back
games
of
have
his
come
hand.
out. I played the crap out of Small World when it first came out. Like we were playing at the shop every
Tuesday,
day. Like I don't know how many people we were nailing our turns so fast. At one point, we were recognizing which tiles, which combinations were broken. By the way, were elves. Freaking broken. Watch out for that. If that combination comes up, spend all your coins and get down there and get those werewolves. Like you'll be rocking people's faces.
Yeah. So that's a good one for me.
I really enjoyed King of Tokyo, although I think that's a...
No, King of Tokyo was a huge sensation as well. See, this is how many games that have
And
been
I'm
out.
not a big board game guy, but
came
that
out this
game
year.
was
King
a
of Tokyo
ton
was-
King of Tokyo, I think we did have it last Christmas. We did
Oh,
have
it was
King of
last-
Tokyo
okay.
on
It was
shelves
late
last Christmas.
last year, yeah.
But it sold out so well that it's been out of print for so long, and now they've got a new expansion. That's also designed by Richard Garfield, same guy who designed Magic the Gathering, who designed Netrunner, who designed Robo Rally, who designed Rocketville. Like, this guy is like...
This guy can
I
make
don't
some
know.
games.
Zen Master.
He knows what's going down.
Yeah. Well, we'll jump off to the other side of the games when it comes to video games. So this year's been a big year for video games as well. Do you guys have the number one video game of 2012?
That's tough.
Well, for me personally, I'm not a huge gamer, but the game I sort of got sucked into the hype and people talking about and then playing myself was the new XCOM game. I was, I played the original on the computer. I liked it, but I was not like a hardcore fan. I sort of was following the, this reboot of the series, and I was intrigued. But I was like, well, I don't know. It's, whatever. But just the more and more I heard about it, the more people started talking about it, the more I read up on it. I was like, yeah, this is my kind of game. And sure enough, tactical shooter, as far as tactical shooter goes, and as far as tactical games, like I'm a big tactical simulation kind of guy. This game is awesome. It's just so much fun, and it is so hard.
My heart breaks every time I lose a guy. No, Vasquez! No!
To the degree, it's disheartening. Like I've actually had to stop playing because I've gotten so frustrated, but not in a negative way. It's just that sort of like, 2 hours later, like I want to get back at that. I want to,
What did you
Neil's secretly like hanging the dog tags and going,
I
I'll
have a
miss
shrine.
you.
It's crazy because they found this way to make like the kind of minutia stuff of like kind of building everything just as interesting as the
The
going
combat.
out.
Oh, yeah.
going,
more so.
going, doing
You
Yeah,
want to
more
rush
so.
through the combat to go build your base.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
3 more
Every time-
days till the lab, and then I can build stuff faster. Research.
No, exactly. So it's like one of the few games that does that, and like XCOM was like
It's kind of a genre that didn't really have a lot of representation.
no.
Whereas we see it every day with Games Workshop and Privateer Press with War Machine, all the tabletop miniature games, and even board games. Like I've even heard XCOM mentioned on several board game podcasts as how it's very similar to games like War Machine and
Because it's a
and,
thinker.
and 40K. And
You
yeah,
have
like
to
yeah,
think
that's
and plan
strategic.
and
So if you can't get out and
strategize.
play, you can't come to a Heroes World and play 40K with your buddies. Maybe you want to check out XCOM.
Yeah.
You know.
Andre,
I played a lot of games.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a big gamer, and there was no shortage of games this year. I don't know what I'd give Game of the Year to.
It's got to be Mass Effect 3, Andre. No.
You know what? It's high up there. I was
well,
gonna say
Halo 4 just came out. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Halo 4 just came out, and Mass Effect 3. I think I'm playing it through for the second time through the full story now, and I got to say, the first time playing through, I think it was kind of all that anticipation. It was like the end, and I think I probably rushed through it. Did really like the multiplayer at the time, and it's still very solid. But yeah, just playing it back now, I would probably have to say Game of the Year, but with the little caveat that if you're gonna play this game, you have to have played Mass Effect 2.
At the very least.
Maybe you don't have to play one, but the story is so good. If you've played the second one and then jumped into the third one, because just the writing and what happens and the character development, you see all of it. I have not played 3 on just a fresh start, but I hear it's totally different because half the characters aren't there. So yeah, I played the crap out of that game. Probably played more multiplayer than I should have, because that got me really frustrated. Yeah, great story. But yeah, Halo 4 came out, and 343 applause. It's a great game. I'm more for the campaign. John's killing the multiplayer. Ask John the last time he played a multiplayer game. I don't know when, but the dude's just, his Facebook page is, oh man, I had a wicked game of Halo. Oh, played with these guys. Halo.
Yeah.
I'm like, John, man, what was the last game you played? Like, John, Halo and XCOM are his games of the year, probably, right? So,
Well, I'd throw Super Street Fighter 4 in there, 2012
did that come
Arcade
out?
Edition.
2012, yeah.
Well, the
Arcade
update,
edition,
the
yeah.
2012 version, like I've been jamming like fighting games for like the last 2 to 3 years, maybe like hardcore, trying to get competitive. Maybe not to the level of pro player.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely taking it more seriously, as in like not just chilling with your friends, but actually doing the research, getting frame data, seeing what works in tournaments, and being really competitive and playing other people, which is kind of I don't know if it's a negative effect or whatever, but it's made me competitive in all my other video games as well. So I'm playing Halo 4 multiplayer and looking at it from a very competitive level, following MLG, seeing what works with what timing your shields recharge on, like all these kind of elements that
The minutia of it.
I would have never thought of
You're
myself
going deeper into the game.
Yeah, I would have never thought of myself as a heavily competitive player before, because I was all about cooperative games and things like that. But now it seems that I guess my taste is mutated, or just all this, forced myself into these fighting games to beat other players has turned me into this kind of competitive monster. I'm not saying I'm good. I'm just saying I want to.
What you don't see at home is
obtain that level.
when John kills someone, he screams, "Murder, death, kill!"
MPK.
187.
And he's like, "What's with the 3 shells?"
Yeah, those would be my big 3: Street Fighter, Halo 4, and XCOM. I've tried a couple of the
Pick
games. In the
one.
meantime.
It's not
We can't.
multiple games of the year. You wussies.
If I
Pick
if
one.
I had to pick one, I'd probably say Halo 4,
Good.
just because I'm
Andre,
really digging it.
one.
One game, man. How
Yes,
many
it's
games?
not a
Okay,
one. Your game of
Well,
the year.
The way I do it is basically if I could only play one game, right? If I'm only allowed to play one game, what game
Gotta
do I
keep
play?
playing.
Yeah, which one do I choose?
Oh, you
Young
guys
Neil is all about
you guys
XCOM.
you
What
guys
is
are
you?
killing me.
Pick one.
XCOM was so good too, though. Ah, man. Justin, you go.
It's gotta be Mass Effect. Like, I don't know how it could not be.
You were
Mass
playing it
Effect.
before we started the podcast. How do you even consider doing anything else?
It's
Not
on
but
pause
an
right
hour
now.
ago, you were playing that game. For me, I would probably say XCOM because, like, again, for most times, like for me when it comes to video games, I'm more about like games like maybe third-person game with a lot of story elements. So like when it comes to like a Grand Theft Auto, like I'm really down because they like the new kind of way they do that, they're really kind of interesting. so far third-person games this year have been kind of lackluster overall. I find, because I tried playing Sleeping Dogs and like this is kind of boring and whatever else. But then
I think Sleeping Dogs is different for me than it is for you. I think it's just a different experience. I like the game because as a person who speaks Cantonese, it's like if I was Italian playing Assassin's Creed, walking through the streets and hearing people talk, you know the dialogue.
Yeah.
As a Cantonese speaking person, you walk through the streets, you understand all the little tidbits of what they're saying.
Well,
so then it's like, oh, this is a bigger world, and this is the exact duplicate of Hong Kong.
What I found with like Sleeping Dogs was like the stuff you can do, like the stuff you can do. Like sometimes it's like, oh, you have to like hack this thing. I was like, oh, I want to do that for like another hour, or like I walk around a corner and they go like, hey, I saw you. And it's like, how? Like I wasn't even there. Like, you can't do that. Like so. Again, good attempt, but overall, just you kind of fell short. They tried Assassin's Creed 3, which is like Assassin's Creed 2 I thought was amazing.
What about Batman?
Was it? I was thinking, was
Batman
Arkham City this year? I thought it was last
Arkham City
year.
was this year.
No, I think it was last year.
Yeah, actually last year.
Nonetheless, it doesn't matter if it was this year or not because it didn't come to your minds when you're thinking Halo 4.
Dude, there's so many games.
Yeah, but if you only think of Halo 4 and Mass Effect 3, then guess what? Those are the games of the year in your opinion.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you're playing.
So I would say
Andre, one or the other. We got time.
Mass Effect.
All right.
Wow.
Movie of the year, damn it.
broke him down. Wow.
Movie of the year, go.
Movie
Let's
of the
not talk about ones we didn't like because we could.
year?
I don't want to say it because it's just going to start this
6
whole
hours.
crazy
Movies we
shitstorm.
loved. What was your movie of the year?
Avengers, Justin?
I don't know. Movie of the year.
Looper?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The first movie that popped in my mind for movie of the year is like
Inception?
it's a
What? I'm a year behind there.
It's like
Yeah,
5 years behind. Thanks.
well, to me, it was that small dark horse that like no one really saw coming, but it was super awesome to watch.
Why am I not surprised?
It was Dread.
Oh, okay, yeah. No,
Oh,
Dread.
all right.
Because again, it's one of the things where like knowing the character or not knowing the character didn't make a difference. You can kind of just kind of just jump in on it, and it was just a solid action movie. And like it wasn't. The thing in the movie that was like that was kind of dumb. We should have like not done that, or this movie could have been tighter. It's like no, overall it works really well, and like if you're looking for something to watch, and that you can watch again and again, like that'd be a movie you can just like toss on anytime and just enjoy yourself. So Dread.
Who's next?
I'm gonna have to say The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes,
Avengers
Saturday.
was a fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it. But the one that had me thinking about it for weeks afterwards, and the one that had me wanting to see it right away again, and the one I'm still thinking about and looking forward to seeing again is The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. I will say I thoroughly enjoyed Wreck-It Ralph. I thought that was a really good kids video game mashup, just fun movie. And I'm not sure if it came out this year or not, but I got to give a shout out to Drive.
That was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, fantastic
You saw
movie.
it this year. That's fine.
So this year. More Cuberts. That's all we gotta say. In our
I'm with
lives.
Neil.
We need
Dark-
more Cubert in
yeah.
our lives.
Yeah, I'm with Neil. Dark Knight Returns. Like both movies are out on Blu-ray, Avengers and Dark Knight Returns. I will
Rises.
say.
Just
Sorry.
quick
Rises.
note. My friend Mike said that Wreck-It Ralph was the best Street Fighter movie ever made, and I will double stamp that because Zangief
I
was
can
the
see
best
that,
in that. It was better than all the other Street Fighter
Little M.
movies.
Bison in there?
Yeah, and Bison. Yeah, that's anyways. And best Street Mortal Kombat because Kano was in it. But yeah, continue.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, like the Blu-rays, my Avengers Blu-ray kind of sat for a little while, but the Batman one was one I wanted to watch again right away. I will give a shout out to a movie that I just watched recently that I didn't think I would actually like. Premium Rush. Starting
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, Jordan Gordon-Levitt.
The Paperboy?
No,
you mean?
it's
Paperboy
a
the
totally
movie?
ridiculous
Paperboy the
concept.
movie?
He's a bike messenger,
Yeah,
and
Paperboy the
he
movie.
gets some package that turns out to be something that is crazy, and all these guys start chasing him, and it's a pure action movie. It's only
With
an
bikes.
hour and a half. It doesn't try to be anything special, not special, but it doesn't try to be anything more than it is.
Yep.
Like no philosophical, like I ride 1 minute at a time. I don't know, some like silliness like that, But it was just really good, and the bikes were like really cool in it. Like he rides a fixed chain bike, which is like a old school BMX style. You back pedal to stop, which means you can't stop pedaling if you're going like a million miles an hour. You got to keep pedaling. So it was just, and that's what the movie felt like. It just kept going.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I'm finding, like, the problem with movies now is everything has to be, like, 2.5 hours, and...
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, that is just getting frustrating, because you're like, well...
Like, can we throw a stinker out there, like Total Recall? Like, did that need to be
That's
that
not. We're
long?
not there yet. Andre, movie of the year.
All right. I don't know. Let's throw out some movies that came out because I probably saw a lot, and I'm trying to gauge movie theater. Avengers was really good, so I don't think we need to put that up there. Like good movie.
I know the
don't think
movies
it
you
was
don't
movie
like, so I'm not going to say
theater. Okay,
those.
but what else we got out there that
Snow White and the Huntsman,
yeah, okay, that was a good one.
Born Legacy.
Yeah, that's not
No,
good.
no,
For me, it didn't do that well.
No. When they
Men
make
in
fun of it
Black
on
3.
Glee,
Men in Black
that's
3,
not
yeah,
a good thing.
no.
Looper? Did Andre see Looper?
I didn't see Looper.
Hunger Games.
I saw Hunger Games, but I think that was last year, wasn't
Skyfall.
Maybe.
it? Yeah, not
No,
Skyfall.
why would you
Skyfall's
start
not
this?
there.
You're just you're such a troll.
Straight up
What
poking
else?
the
What
bear.
else came out in the summer? Because I'm drawing a little bit of a blank, and I saw.
Normally, I don't
count.
count summer movies as movies that are going to be like.
Okay, well,
great.
what else came out?
Battleship.
Battle.
Shut up! Shut your fucking mouth right now! No way, that's
Dirty,
good.
dirty mouth.
What did I enjoy the most?
Expendables
this year?
2.
You know
Actually,
what?
I
To
just
be
watched
honest
that
with
last
you,
night.
I would have to say the movie I enjoyed the most was probably Expendables 2.
Van
Over
Damme
the
was
Avengers,
awesome
over
as
Dark
the
Knight
Devil.
Rises.
Yeah. Like I don't know. There was just, Avengers was great. Like it was great. But I think it's kind of too easy to say, well, that was movie of the year. Yeah, I would say either. Yeah, I'd have to say Expendables
Through the Curve
2.
with Clint Eastwood.
Yes, man.
Like I just that's my movie. Like I'm
Yeah,
38.
like
I said, I had a lot of fun
I'm
watching that.
38. Like those are all the guys I grew up watching. It was over the top action, and like John said, it was what it was.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, say, "Oh,
I think my
you don't-
expectations were just too high
You
for
don't
it.
like anything,
Yeah.
Andre. You hate everything." It's like, no, if you give me something, I expect the same out of it. So I do have high expectations, but it's only as high as what you've given to me from before. So like, we mentioned a little bit, for Dark Knight, for me, I think Nolan could have done better. I think it could have been a better movie. So that, like, it wasn't a bad movie
Yeah.
per se, but I don't think it was a good Batman movie or a
Yeah.
good movie. So with Expendables, it was like the first one, I'm like, holy crap, yeah, they just blew shit up. And they went to some stupid island to do it. Okay, it was a little, far-fetched. This one, it was just like bigger guns, bigger explosions, some humor. Chuck Norris walks in. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, honestly, and part of it's that nostalgia. I remember, going to the beta store and renting every Chuck Norris movie. Because,
Delta Force.
Yeah, like Delta
Yeah.
Force.
But how did Stallone get that plane around the corner? And how did Chuck Norris kill all those guys? Like,
He had a really
see, it's different expectations.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
See, Expendables 2 was my Dark Knight to you.
Yep.
I expected so much from Expendables 2.
Really, from what the
Yeah.
first one? That's what I don't understand.
I just
From what the
expected
first
so
one
much.
gave you, I
What
don't know
didn't
how
do it for
could-
you?
The everything, the action, it just felt like a whole bunch of cameos sewn together into a movie. Like, let's film you on the set, let's film you on the set, let's film you on the set. Okay, let's stitch it together into
See,
a
I will
movie.
say there was a few too many times where it was
Yeah.
like you could tell like they were just trying to get the one-liner, just
Yeah.
trying to get
Yeah.
like, the two
Yeah.
guys.
And
to
Chuck
say
Norris, like,
back
it
and
was-
forth, which is okay, but it did sort of was like, okay, that's a little, but again in the whole, as a whole, I could sort of not mind that because of what it was giving me was these action stars from the past. I knew it was going to be a little bit like
Cheese.
cheese.
But I wanted more Van Damme. Like Van Damme,
Yeah.
He
like
was
barely
awesome.
had a part.
Van
Like,
awesome.
They should have given him
He
way
was
more
awesome.
camera
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
His second in command, Scott Adkins, like he was awesome. Like he clearly would have beat Jason Statham in that fight, but somehow Jason Statham just somehow managed to fling him into the
Because
helicopter.
he's
blade.
the hero.
But
No, because
he was clearly
he threw
kicking
himself
his
in
ass.
grease. That's why. I don't know. He missed a scene where he threw grease on himself so he could slip around faster.
Yeah, like, that's what he does all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to grease himself up.
That's bizarre.
Oh boy, yeah, Expendables 2. All right, well, I guess that's a cue to go into movies and things we didn't
That was disappointing.
like. I'd like to say didn't reach our potential. We had
Yeah,
high expectations.
Oh, can I
rather
throw one
than
more
saying
thing that I
worst.
liked?
Oh, yeah, please,
Yeah.
please.
New Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon.
Yes.
I'm
That is
loving
very-
that.
We
That's-
should talk about TV shows we like this year. Because what
Yeah.
favorite TV show?
Okay, John was Ninja Turtles. Neil,
Yeah, I'm loving Ninja Turtles. The writing's awesome. Andre is probably gonna say Newsroom, and I
oh,
think
you
that
took
was
it. You stole
that was
it.
fantastic. He'll talk more about it.
But I like the voices because the voices of Ninja Turtles. It's Sean
They're-
Astin.
they're written so
it's,
well.
It's Jason Biggs from American Pie and Robert Paulson, who was the voice of Pinky from Pinky and the Brain and the original.
Yeah.
Michelangelo, who's now the voice of Donatello. So there's some throwback to the old Ninja Turtles that
they're just written really well, and actually the fight sequences I think are really well done. Like they're actually doing, Michelangelo's got a variation on his nunchucks where it turns into almost like a chain whip, and you'll actually see him kick it out like a real martial arts kind of maneuver instead of they do throw in like kind of like twirly weapons, like which is very unrealistic in the real martial arts world, but it looks good in the show.
But if you have three fingers, you can
maybe if you have three
around.
fingers, you can flip those sides
Yeah,
around
you
really
can-
fast,
really
and do all these
quick. Yeah,
crazy
yeah.
twirls.
Because you think about the circumference, it's like this is gotta be like this. So
Yeah,
you have
circular.
it's like the live
As
on one
Stuart makes little Spock fingers.
Yeah, circumference.
Little
Yeah,
hands.
And it's
I'm
really
gonna-
cool that they can't win every fight. Like they straight up lose to Shredder. Like Shredder kicks their
Yeah.
asses, right? And even Shredder's two like second in commands will kick the turtles' asses because they're just not ready, right? It's cool.
kids.
'Cause
Like,
they're
you can-
teenagers,
yeah,
yeah.
they act like teenagers and they all act different. Like it's cool.
Nice. Neil.
I don't watch a lot of TV. One show that I got into this year that I'm thoroughly enjoying is Mad Men. I was sort of hesitant to jump on that bandwagon. I finally gave in, started watching, and I think I powered through about 4 seasons in like a week and a half. So
It'll do that to you.
really, really good show. Believe the hype. Outside of that, I can't really think of anything.
What about
that-
the League? There's a new season of the League.
to be honest
Oh,
with
you're
you,
not-
I
you're not
kind
in?
of dropped off on that show.
Oh, yeah.
It's-
Yeah, you were saying you
the
were kinda
second
like-
season didn't
yeah.
really do it for me. Although the one show I don't know the name of it. It's actually like a web show on IGN. Have you seen that? Like the video game store web show.
No, I haven't seen that.
Anyway, there's this web show on IGN. I think it's called like the Game Store or the Game Shop, whatever. And it's just essentially sort of like this EB Games. It's like 4 people working this EB Games. It's like this comedic, 15-minute little short. But I've seen like 3 episodes so far, and it's hilarious. So, if you're ever on IGN and you're looking for something different, check that out because it was actually hilarious. And there's a lot of sort of video game in jokes and nerd culture jokes as well. So that's something that I think it's called the Game Shop. I'd highly recommend that, and I really enjoyed it. But like I said, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I'm a little thin for ideas.
Andre.
All right, yeah, the newsroom. I would say 13. It was 13 episodes or 12 episodes or whatever it was. How many episodes were?
It's like a half season felt like.
Yeah, nothing
it's
tops it.
13.
I think it's 13. Yeah,
That
it's
was
13.
the best thing that TV put on the air.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
period.
That was awesome.
Just period. So if you haven't watched it, you can totally get into it. Trust me, it's fantastic.
More Terry Chews.
Yeah, but I've spent probably 3 podcasts talking about it. So John mentioned a cartoon. I'm gonna kick off with cartoon Tron Uprising.
Yeah, that's really good too.
Holy crap, man! Like this is a cartoon
With
like
Frodo?
I don't honestly. I don't even know the voices, but I can tell you, just solid. It's got a Samurai Jack vibe where it isn't over dialogued. Great soundtrack, awesome art style. And I was watching it,
And this takes place before,
it's
in
before,
between.
It's before the new movie, yeah.
and it's really really cool. The main character is you can see kind of like that internal struggle, the back history of what happened to Tron, and why he is kind of like in the dark and not leading the uprising. It's really really cool, and I just like it because it's just very accessible. The only thing I would say that disappoints me is that damn these channels for just these shows just go off the air for X period of time. You don't know when the next episode's coming. Like I think they've only had 8 or 9 episodes or something. But I'm like, you tune in next week and the next week and then I'm like, what the hell? Tell me how long. And I think
What
same
the
thing
hell,
happened-
DC Nation?
Yeah, same thing happened.
Calling
with-
you out.
Yeah,
You're on
that's,
blast.
that's probably the biggest disappointment of the year. The
Yeah,
DC
with,
Nation
with,
stuff.
with Teen Titans, the same thing. They
Yeah.
just boom off the air for months. So come on, you need to have some longevity. You need to have some
Get to it.
And they got it right with the comics, so how come? And
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
seen how that's worked for them, so you would think
Yeah.
they would.
So I would say currently my show of the year is actually I'm gonna give it to a network actually, and that would be FX because I'm finding more and more that FX is really coming strong with stuff that's not it's not as intense as HBO. But at the same time, they have a lot of really interesting stuff they're putting on. That again, it's all kind of original material. And you're like, oh, that's really.
You seem like the
that's really
image
awesome.
of TV.
Yeah, that's
in
what's
a
going
way.
on here because between my favorite show in the world, Justified, and
Because it's got your name in it.
That's not why.
Only
Don't you
why.
dare belittle this. your battleship. But nevertheless, so Justified. Right now, American Horror Story is on, and
Archer.
yeah, and Archer. But
Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy's kind of okay. Well, I have.
We're
I
gonna have to
issues
cover
with
that.
Sons of- I have issues with Sons of
All right,
Anarchy.
all right, okay.
But nevertheless, but when it comes to American Horror Story, what I'm really loving about that show is this concept of take a lot of the same actors you had in the first season, make it a whole new story, whole new setting, and just like just
make a miniseries.
Yeah, make a miniseries where like I know for a fact that by the time the 13 episodes are over, it'll be a complete story. I'm not gonna have to be like, oh, what's gonna happen next season? I'm just waiting to find out what's gonna happen next season because I like the show, not because they left a bunch of threads open. And I'm like, oh man,
nice.
I have to I have
Very
to wait
BBC
around.
like, yes.
Yeah, so it's been fantastic, and FX has been a really good job of having high production values, yet still coming up with like good stories that kind of wrap up pretty well.
Okay.
Except that Sons of Anarchy, we'll talk about that later.
Disappointing comic books this year. Go.
Disappointing
Comic books. Anyone?
Disappointing event in comics is they're canceling the Punisher series.
They're
I think AVX fell a little flat. I don't think it was disappointing, but it wasn't the home run that it could have been.
Yeah.
However, that being said, I really like what Marvel's doing in terms of they're not just ignoring the event 2 months later like they tend to do. They seem to be incorporating the ideas that were, started in AVX and kind of running with them. So that's, I guess, a positive. But overall, I was sort of lukewarm to it.
Shame to DC for canceling Hellblazer. What are you guys doing? That's ridiculous.
What the hell's that?
Terrible.
And now, like really, there's like no Vertigo series. Like Vertigo, and Karen Berger just left, so it's like, well, she was like the editor at DC at Vertigo for I'd say close to 30 years, and she's gone now. So like really, Vertigo's kind of closed its doors.
I
really.
think it was probably unfortunately a change at the top. Maybe DC just said we want to be the superhero place, and because they really haven't churned out that much in the Vertigo
Fables and Vampire,
Fables
American Vampire.
and
That's
American
about
Vampire.
So it's like mid this decade, they were huge,
they did
right?
Spaceman and some other limited
which
series,
was very good,
which very good, but it hasn't had that presence, and maybe losing, nothing really stepped up and replaced.
I think it's only
Wild
Scalped.
Last Man.
I think Scalped is the only thing that's running
and that,
still.
and that's kind of that's almost about to end too.
Did
Right?
it finish?
Yeah, I think it's done.
So it's like, well, that was kind of a big disappointment in comics.
I would probably say the thing that's disappointed me in comics the most is kind of how Marvel's ending their books and the transition between the end and then the Marvel Now
very
stuff.
Messy.
It's messy. They're usually these 4-issue stories, like the Avengers End Time story arc. I was just like, what the hell is this? It was just not good, and
the release schedule too.
The release schedule is weird.
Staggered
like
and
Captain
uneven.
America became a team book. It was always Captain America and somebody else, and they had a couple cool issues. But then you get Captain America 1 and the last issue of Captain America, and it was Black Widow. And I'm like you put those two comics on the shelf, and as a retailer, no one's gonna. It doesn't matter that that's the last issue of Captain America and whoever.
And no one's looking for that.
No one's looking for that. And the new one's right beside it, and it looks awesome. Better cover, better just better everything. So
John Romita.
I'd probably say that's the disappointing thing in comics for me was that little transition.
Disappointing games this year. Games that didn't reach their potential. Video games you guys played and just
Amazing Spider-Man. Because they had a video game for the movie, and listen, I'll play any Spider-Man game. It doesn't matter. I don't even care. Just give me a Spider-Man game. But I thought the Spider-Man game would have more
web slinging.
Yeah, more web slinging. Well, okay, because Spider-Man, the movie game for Spider-Man 2 is probably the best Spider-Man game you'll ever play. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on it, it's so worth it. And nothing has kind of gone back to that, having this really amazing style for web slinging to the point where even after you beat the game, you'll just kind of turn on and be like, I'm just going to swing around the city for a couple hours. I'll just swing around. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so that was a disappointing game. It was all right, it looks all right, but
Resident Evil 6.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Never have I played a game that I wanted to return.
Jesus Christ.
It was I'm sorry, it was just shit. A lot of games.
Does that Raccoon City Ops be better than this game possibly?
Yeah, it was 3 different stories. Which and you know what, they had me because I didn't really like 5. 5 was okay, but it wasn't Resident Evil. To me, they left Resident Evil at 3. Resident Evil 4 was a good
Code
game,
Veronica?
but it wasn't Resident Evil. Then Resident Evil 5, I was like, okay, you're back to being Chris, and then you're in Africa, and there's really no Resident Evil. There's no. It's all taking place in the day and stuff, and there's giant monsters in it. And then the trailer for 6 looked amazing. I was like, wow, this looks really good. I'm like, oh my god, there's co-op in it again. Oh, this could be good. Hey John, I'm gonna buy you a copy of Resident Evil. We can play. and oh my god, like it's painful. Like I tried it and I literally stopped playing like after an hour. Then I thought, nah, it couldn't be this bad. Let me go back. I went back and I made myself play this game. And
under protest,
like eating your vegetables.
no, I just yeah. It was I'm like,
it's like broccoli.
Just terrible.
Played a rule.
I couldn't even get past one of the stories. Like there's the part where you're playing as Chris Redfield and I don't even know what's going on. There's you and you got a squad of 5 guys, but all the monsters come at you. I'm like, what are the other guys shooting? Like rubber pellets?
I'll be honest with you, that is the thing I hate most in video games, when they all focus on your character. And
yeah, you got a squad of dudes, and I'm
Yeah.
like, first of all, and just everything drops ammo in the game, yet I still don't have enough. And I'm like, and so I spend the time, instead of shooting the guys, running around and hitting cardboard boxes with my foot, and to pick up ammo. And then my biggest pet peeve in games, so game designers, if someone design a game and happens to hear this, listen, one time is all you need to tell me to hit the right button or whatever to execute a zombie. But every time you walk over a zombie that's on the screen, it tells you hit, right trigger and A to execute. So that's what you see all the time. I'm like, listen, you're either a movie or you're a video game. Tell me once or twice what the buttons do. I got this. I've been playing for years.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. Why do games insist on keep putting what the button command?
Holding
Can you
your
imagine
hand,
playing
yeah.
Street Fighter and every time you need to kick somebody, the little kick button came up? Like, what the shit is that?
Press L now.
Or the block button
Press L
came?
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the block button
block,
popped up. Yeah, so yeah, terrible.
Rage.
I honestly, I wish I could have returned that game. And I don't sell my games or trade them in or anything, but that one I really like. I
Like a
felt
black
it.
hole.
Yeah, I felt it in
I'm just
in
gonna say
the
right now,
core.
one of you guys prepare to get a used copy of Resident Evil 6 for Christmas gift. I'm just
I
saying
wouldn't
right
do that to
now,
anybody.
I want to spin a bottle, and whichever one gets it, guess what? You got a brand new copy of Resident Evil 6. Merry Christmas.
a lightly used copy.
Very lightly used.
used.
Neil and John, anything?
I don't have any disappointing games, unfortunately. So
I know
I'm gonna have to
John
pass on
has.
this one.
I'm with Andre on the Resident Evil 6. I probably played it for less than a week. I probably played like 2 or 3 games of the multiplayer, and I watched some other people play the single player, and I was like, not down with this. I literally made a noise. I don't want
You made that
it.
noise?
Disappointment. I don't know if it came out this year, but it was pretty recent. Street Fighter Cross Tekken,
that was this year
which is
too.
a fighting
Yeah.
game. I had really high hopes for it. It had a lot of action. It looked really nice. But some of the systems were flawed, and there's a lot of guys in the fighting game community saying, "Oh no, nobody gave this game a chance." But I know some of them are top players who are getting sponsored, so they might be saying things.
John, how you see that thing that Capcom is releasing this week, which is
Yeah, they're doing Mega Man X
Street
Fighter,
Fighter.
where you're Mega Man in its 8-bit world, and the bosses are Street Fighter characters.
Oh, sick.
So
But it's free. It's
Yeah.
free. Otherwise, I would happily trade my Street Fighter Cross Tekken for it.
But the Street Fighter Tekken looked really nice.
It looked
Like,
nice,
I
but
remember
if
looking
you
at that
played
game
it-
and saying, "Wow, that looks."
If you
that
played
looks
it
good.
at a higher level, like a casual gamer will probably enjoy this game. Like if you're just gonna get together a bunch of buddies,
I
and
just mash buttons. It's
want to
fun.
slap buttons, you're gonna have a ton of fun with this game. But if you want to get to a competitive level, there's some silliness in this game. And when I talk silliness, like we all know Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3 is out, and that's some silliness. But this is some major silliness going on in this game.
Yeah.
Yikes. Well, let's jump over to disappointing television shows, because I know it's and we'll leave movies to the last one, because I feel Andre's rage.
I'll say
bubbling.
Young Justice I'm disappointed in, despite it being an absolutely fantastic show.
It's
You
just
just-
not all-
are you
having
disappointed?
3 episodes for the whole year.
Oh no, I'm just
Yes.
okay. So let's not talk about the fact of the wacky release schedule. We're talking
no,
about
you have to though, because that
That destroys the whole show.
that
Like, I don't
colors
care.
how you
I don't
enjoy
remember
the
what
show.
happened now.
Yeah.
So even if when it
Because
comes
Green
back in
Lantern
January,
cartoon was
February,
super awesome. Like the Green Lantern cartoon that came on with Young Justice, it was like I said, I watched the whole like first half, it got really good, and then all of a sudden it's just like we're gone. We're no longer.
and it wasn't even a significant amount of episodes
Yeah.
that they aired. It
Yeah.
was probably maybe 6 at most,
Around
and not
that, yeah.
even. And not all episodes dealt with the main storyline.
No.
Like at least Ninja Turtles, they ran 10 solid
Yeah.
episodes, and they started the show. They fought Shredder, and they've got kind of an ending. And now I think they're off until next year or something like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
But that was a brand new show, and it started late too as well. And they've got more episodes in the can than Young Justice. Like, come on, guys! And I don't even remember what is happening now. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna be on board next. year.
they just I don't ruin this. Okay, anyways, yeah, I know exactly what happened, but I don't ruin it.
I do remember, but I'm not going to care.
Yeah.
Yeah, disappointing show. I'd say Revolution.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Because like I watched it. I was like, okay, I'll give this thing a try. Like, let's see what's going on here. I do like listen, me and the post-apocalypse, we get along. But at the same time, though, in Revolution, first off, there's a problem. The problem where all the women in the show look like they don't have makeup on, but they kind of have makeup on. And you're like, how are you all
looking now? So
Yeah,
nice,
and then-
well, they kind of have to do that for
Well,
TV.
well,
You can't have ugly ass
see,
mofos on
actually,
your show.
Walking Dead does that, where everyone looks like they're like just a little dirtier than normal, right? That's fine. As well as again, some good concepts, but overall, I'm like, how did everyone know how to fight with a sword so well? And how come everyone has 2 days worth of stubble when there's nothing around? And
Yeah, there's no electric
razor,
raver
yeah.
to give you
Rubbing
that
their
level
faces
to-
against rocks.
yeah, and it's like,
Daryl just wills the stubble to be the way
They
it
just
is.
suck it back in.
He just looks at it. It's like, we're not going to move any farther. Okay, we're good, Daryl.
yeah,
We're good.
no, but again, interesting concept to begin with. Like, okay, all the power goes out, all the stuff's happening, like no one knows what's going on, and then it just hits a point where just bad character writing and just nonsense. Like the guys just pulling straight nonsense is like, well, this is just
You're
ridiculous.
saying that Gus couldn't save it?
Well, it's tough because his character is kind of cool, and I don't want to know about his story, but at the same time, though, I look at some of the other characters, and it's why would you bother doing that? What possible reason could you have for having? Why is this your end game goal? None of this makes any
There
sense.
was a show back in the day. It was called Whoops, and it was like a sitcom, and it was about the end of the world. I don't know if anyone remembers that.
I don't remember that at all. I have to check this out.
It was like a comedy, and it was the end of the world, and these people ended up on a farm, and they were trying to redo civilization, so they do all kinds of silly stuff. There'd be giant ants running around and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe you'd rather watch that.
that sounds
Giant
better than
ants,
Revolution.
and then they'd be like, "Oh, the last tube of toothpaste in the world," and someone squeezed it from the middle, and silly stuff.
That's kind of
Do
funny.
you think the laugh track would increase the popularity of Revolution if they included a laugh track?
You know what?
I'd hope so.
You'd probably have to make it a comedy because the premise of the show, I watched it because it sounded good, but I'm like, you know what? Just the
They
laws
just-
of physics have to apply at some point.
You're talking about the plane.
Or you have to tell me, the viewer.
Yeah.
I don't care if the people in the television world know why the power went off.
Because this is a
You
spinoff
have to
of.
tell me.
Isn't this the spinoff of Escape from L.A. where Snake Plissken hits the energy thing and all of them goes out? Is that how it
See,
works?
that would be awesome.
would be
I would watch
awesome.
that
'Cause
show.
that makes sense, right?
Yeah, but
Because
this
Plissken would show up and
it's just it's crap.
yeah, I'd watch shows.
it's-
So really,
Would it be
that
Kurt Russell?
Oh, that'd be so sweet.
I watched Kurt Russell yesterday in Miracle. That guy can do no wrong.
Oh.
It was a
Yeah,
great.
Kurt Russell.
High five.
I was like, man, Kurt Russell, because it's been a while. I'm like, oh, he's great as a
That
fat
man Mike.
guy. As,
Death proof.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like him as a bad guy. I
Well,
like him.
I just like Kurt Russell overall because he's listen, he's more Kurt Russell 2013. That's what we're gonna let's fly that banner now.
Yeah.
But Revolution overall is just like
So both for you in agreements that Revolution is.
Yeah, I would say that, and
it's not even a high concept show. Which is like, what the fuck? Like, how do you have a show that's like oh, it's like the crazy thing with science, the power went
WTF.
out, and it's not even high concept. It's just like it's base, and I'm not sure what's going on here or why things are happening.
Is anybody watching Homeland?
Oh, that's my disappointment of the year.
I was gonna say all this hype around it. It won awards. I checked out a couple episodes. And I was like, what?
Oh no!
I saw
Season
episode one,
one,
it was good.
season one is magnificent.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's fantastic. Season 2 is a massive cluster f of all
Is it-
proportions.
Really?
On
It makes
par
no
with
sense.
Heroes.
Okay.
It just
Now, granted, I'm coming into it late, and I was just sort of.
Now,
but even
season
just,
one-
like,
Is it
even,
as
like, the-
ridiculous as
so
Sons
this is
of
what
Anarchy?
happens. Season 1, Damian Lewis doesn't know what he's supposed to be, so therefore he can act like he's really acting. Like Damian Lewis, every time he's acting, doesn't know what he's doing, so
Right.
therefore it shows up in his performance.
Right.
Yeah.
They kind of
It's
let
like
him know what's
confused.
going on. So now it's hard for him to pretend that he doesn't know when he knows what's going on.
Right.
And this Abu Nuzir situation where he just shows up in America, and I'm not spoiling like nothing. He's in America. No one knows where he is, and they can just let him just do whatever he wants. He just
How did he get to
sneaks
America?
into America, and it's like, and he meets
swam.
and he meets them. I'm like, oh, I listened to the showrunners, and they're like, what we want to do differently with any other show, and I was on board with this concept. When we watch TV shows, there's a set beats of what we expect in a show.
Sure.
Yeah.
We expect, the
This by the
season
middle,
finale,
this by
mid-season
the-
is when you meet the villain or you meet the bad guy, and like everything is set because every show is like that. There's even in comics,
formula.
there's like a formula of
just
this is what happens.
Beats hit.
They changed that, so it threw me off. Episode 2 and season 2 is like, oh my, why is Abu Nazir here? So it just completely changed it. But the problem is, like 24, logically now everything's completely illogical. It makes no sense why anything happens.
Jump the shark, basically.
It just completely goes. It's like, okay, I get it. You're gonna change it a little bit, but now it's like we're gonna how can you
Stu's
how
hurt.
it makes. I don't want to ruin the show, but there's a lot of different things where if you are following Secret Service and everyone's following, if he's a terror suspect, there's no way he can kill anyone, and yet he kills people.
Yeah.
Or Carrie, who now has discovered that she's bipolar and all these different things. How is she back in the CIA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't get back after they
don't
know
mention
you crazy.
Yeah, they don't mention what she does there. They don't mention her title. What she just like. Oh, we'll just deal with this.
She's in
It's
the
like,
CIA.
what?
Yeah, there's
Are
just
you
a
kidding
lot
me?
of things that just did not do it for me for that show.
It's at the same time, John Ho will agree with me on this. Sons of Anarchy is the most ridiculous show on television. Where
I would say the most ridiculous
it's
show.
pretty ridiculous that guys can. Well, they just.
You,
whenever they go
you
to
know that song that's "Let the bodies hit the
Yeah.
floor." Let the-" It's like every episode should be playing that song,
Yeah.
and people just get murdered unrelentlessly, especially women.
Oh
if you
my
want to
God.
see women violently murdered, tune
if you,
into this
if
season.
you really hate women, Sons of Anarchy is a show you'd love because I've never seen there's one episode where the only people who died were just innocent women, like who had nothing to do with this shitty gang. And it's like best way to describe Sons of Anarchy is imagine if the Three Stooges ran a motorcycle gang, or they're just like they can't make money, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I
at
said it was
all.
more like Dukes of Hazzard.
But you see, the Dukes of Hazzard are just like good old boys hanging out.
Yeah, but they broke out of jail and then they're still running free. Like they broke out of. We knew you guys broke out of jail, and you broke your cousin out of jail, but you got away. All right, let's call it even.
Call bygones.
Unless, well, her cousin was Daisy,
Like,
so it's
I would say I'm
Gave
disappointed in this
Boss
show.
Hog
Like
and
I was a huge fan of the show, but about halfway through this season, you could kind of tell that Kurt Sutter almost kind of sold out a little bit. Like you're seeing a lot more product placement in the show. These weird things on the bikes that would never have been on the bike before. Weird cameos from all kinds of different
celebrities.
celebrities that like Ashley Tisdale. Come on, get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well, just a
who
weird
else?
thing
Like this
where-
Dave Navarro lookalike guy.
Yeah,
Like
that was
like-
Dave Navarro.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it was Dave
Oh.
Navarro.
But Jimmy Smits is awesome in the season.
Yeah.
Like
What's he
but
doing in there? Is he president? Is
He's
this
like a
his last name?
Latino. He's like a Latino gangster.
Jimmy
Blood in,
Smith?
blood out,
Yeah,
baby.
Jimmy
Oh,
Smith.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out.
It works really well, but you can kind of tell like they signed it on for 2 more seasons. You can kind of tell maybe
Oh,
he's,
they're
he's
super stretching
stretching
it out.
a
But
little
see,
bit.
I think that's kind of the problem. Don't these networks see that? Hey, the stuff that's working and doing well is the finite stuff. You know,
Well,
like when you start
At the same time,
stretching
they
the
like
stuff
money,
out-
so they're just
yeah,
gonna,
but
But look at Dexter this year. Dexter this year has been actually good. It took them 7 seasons to get to this point.
Yeah,
After
but-
season 2,
Yeah, but a lot of
all that
people-
stuff in between should have just been written off because this season of Dexter is actually decent.
I
Well,
know, I
but
wouldn't-
I've
but
jumped
I-
back-
I know people who are fans of the show.
Yeah,
who loved
there's
it.
like-
I've
So
jumped back
I would-
on
but you know
for
what?
this season, and I know there's one more left. So I'm like, okay, I'll take 4 out of 7 seasons.
But the thing is, I thought the pinnacle of that series was the John Lithgow season.
Yeah.
Was that season 4?
Trinity
and it's
Killer, he was
3 seasons,
okay.
3 seasons later, they stretched it,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't know. Like I've never been a Dexter fan.
I just
Holly
want to kill
loves
Deb.
it. It's
I
pretty
hate her
good.
so much.
Yeah, she's pretty stupid, but
She's terrible.
I don't know. One show I do want to mention, and I've stuck with it, and I know it's never been a super great show. Supernatural.
Oh, I'm on the. Don't worry, I'm all
So,
about that.
but-
Don't worry, we're on the same. We're on the same train.
This season though, it's had some highs and lows, but then they like
High is Garth.
I
Garth is the best.
I don't know. Like I think I'm. Okay, hold on. Let me say this. It was the end of last season. I'm really talking about season 7.
Yes.
And they kill off Bobby. And then they have to work so hard to have Bobby come back as a ghost. Stop killing off the main dudes. Like, how hard is it a concept to be like Sam, his brother Dean, and their go-to information
But they
guy
kill-
Bobby? But like, I'm like,
But they kill everyone, Andre.
I know, but they didn't need to kill Bobby. Like,
They
it was
do.
so stupid. No, I disagree. Because now he comes back as a ghost, and they got to carry around a fucking flask because his body's attached to it.
But
Like,
he's-
his spirit.
But he's gone
I'm like,
this season.
Is he like blue? Like
No,
is he
no,
like
he's-
semi-transparent?
No,
No,
he's
no.
like-
They
he's-
can only see. And then if they need help, they bring the flask
he's-
with them, and then the ghost can do stuff. And I'm like, you know what?
I'm
That
just-
was just
That's
stupid.
kind of
Hey,
funny.
They let him out under the door and he goes inside.
His body is tethered to the flask, like that's the object, you know. And it's just
Oh my
like,
God.
Just be glad that the Leviathan thing's over. I've jumped back on this season.
I hear this season is gotten better, and I'm a little bit behind on the 8. But I just it's really hurting me to have to finish this. Like after they killed Bobby, I stopped and I said, you know what? There's only 7 episodes left. Let me
I'll do
finish
this.
it.
And now you're.
And I'm just like, I don't know. So disappointed.
It hurts because
in
Eric
Supernatural.
Kripke, who did Supernatural, went to Revolution, and you expect that he should be able to do something, and he's made that show more of a train wreck than anything else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They said they have one more season left in Supernatural. They have stories for this year and next year, and
They said that like
that's
2 seasons ago.
They said that like 5 seasons ago.
Yep. And
Well,
yet,
4
One more
seasons,
year.
we're out.
I tell you though, guys, if you haven't watched the first 3 seasons of Supernatural, if you just watched it and pretended it stopped there, one of the
Five.
slowest-
First 5.
No, first 3. It stops when
Oh.
when the dad when the dad finishes his mission and stuff like that. Boom. So yeah, Supernatural 1
Or
to
just
3.
watch the recap on the first episode of each season.
I'm
no,
in.
those aren't even good anymore.
boo!
I'm in on the first 5 seasons. I'm in on the ending of Chuck. I'm good with that.
No,
I'm good with that.
We disagree.
Well, agree, disagree. Okay, finally we're at the drum roll part, the part that we've been all waiting for. Disappointing movies.
Okay, we can't talk about Dark Knight Rises anymore.
It's
like,
universally, and again, if he was anyone else besides Batman as the title, if you call him Owlman, Sparrowman, Aquaman, I'm fine with it. Just
Aquaman.
The vigilante.
the vigilante, it's.
You know what though? I'd have to
if you
say,
just remove the nerddom, it's fine.
I would have to say that the movie that I was most disappointed in wasn't Batman, because the Batman movie, although I was disappointed in it, is still a watchable movie.
Yep.
Prometheus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
buddy.
the was that? Like
I watched like the first minute and I was like, out.
Fassbender can't save that.
Yeah,
no,
no,
he cannot.
That was one of my most anticipated movies, and it's now my most disappointing, and I
Yes.
didn't even see it. It's disappointing because of all the other people who shat on it.
No, but
and-
if you watch it now, you'll
No, no.
probably be fine with it.
No,
because
I probably will enjoy it, but I'm just saying, like, sort of
I-
the build up and the hype that was around that
There's
movie.
so
and how,
much
just got
much
shattered,
I was
yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Literally shattered my anticipation.
You know
And
what?
will
Like
say-
I tried to find the positive in this movie, and I Neil, unfortunately, I don't think you will enjoy the movie on any level, except for maybe visually. So yeah, it was shot very
Beautiful.
nicely. I say it looks
Yeah.
great. I even went as far as thinking if I could just get the score in the background and no dialogue, would that save the movie? It can't. The
It can't even
movie-
be a movie that you watch during a holiday party with no volume, just in the background. It can't do that.
No, it can't do that. It's just it was just
Wow.
like just awful, plotless, and again, not even we can't even talk about lost potential. It's like here we were thinking, oh my god, they're finally bringing something with the aliens, and not name on it, but
Just
something
that
that's going to
universe.
be in that universe that's not that garbage Alien versus Predator like swept under the rug. We got Ridley Scott coming back. We've got some talented writers who I swear to God they are not talented. What's the guy's name?
Lindelof.
You know what, buddy?
Damien
We
Lindelof.
better not meet. Like seriously.
Wow,
Like-
he's
like-
throwing down
Wow.
the gauntlet.
Wow.
Yeah,
Shots
gauntlet,
fired.
man. Like,
Shots
no,
fired.
you can't say you're a good writer, creative writer,
Have
and
at
you
me, sir.
deliver that. You know what I mean? Like I've had mixed feeling about this guy since
Lost.
he screwed up. Well, Lost, and then with the Wolverine versus Hulk. How you can take fucking 4 or 5 years to write a 4-issue story about Wolverine fighting Hulk?
Yeah, it's really.
So from then we
kind of
had
writes
words,
itself,
but
really, doesn't
but
it?
Now, yeah, Prometheus. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, like Prometheus was a disappointment to me. I don't know. Again, I try to like limit the stuff I watch to like stuff I know
Yeah.
I'm going to like, because like I could watch a trailer and be like, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I did see again. Prometheus was probably like, the disappointment movie, but again, to me also, Dark Knight in a way, because I found there's a bit of like, okay, I know we kind of went over the whole thing though, but like even kind of looking back on it, I did watch again recently, like there is a bit of like lazy storytelling in there, and that's kind of like where kind of like, that lost potential really happens for me, and that's kind of why I'm like, I want you to be good, and then you're just kind of okay at best, and then also kind of I'll throw another one out there, even Amazing Spider-Man, because I liked Amazing Spider-Man, but the only problem I had with it is like, listen, just move.
50 minutes in the movie, he's still not Spider-Man?
Yeah, like move
I
that,
was kind of disappointed.
move that a bit faster, and also why go out of your way to have Uncle Ben not say with great power comes great responsibility? How can we have him say, Peter, if you have the power, you have a moral obligation? It's like
Longer.
you've added like 30 words that don't need to be there. And that was kind of a problem. But then
What about Lizard's face?
First-
All these people have a problem with Bane. Lizard's face was like
First off, no
awful.
wrong could come from freaking Martin Sheen as Uncle. I just wanted him to come out the West Wing style, just bust some heads,
I
and
did-
just come
I
in
did
and be
again.
like, Peter. It's like no matter what he said, I didn't care. He could say anything. He was Uncle Ben. It was
It
amazing.
was a win.
Yeah.
It was a win. It was freaking Martin Sheen. I just wanted him to put a
it's true.
jacket on, funnily, and he's like, oh yeah.
No, but yeah, but overall, I did like Amazing Spider-Man, but like just those kind of small things, just like this cool concept of.
But
like,
could you put it in your category of disappointment because of those two small things?
Yeah, I could.
Okay,
Those stuff that was kind of
That's
disappointing enough.
nitpicking, yes, but
Well, okay.
that is worth as much savagery as watching Prometheus. That they're the same level of disappointment for two things, and when that whole movie is a complete terrifying
Cluster.
experience.
Cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, okay. Well, the thing with Amazing Spider-Man was like I was kind of hoping for this movie where like like it start he's Spider-Man already, and like we're just kind of moving forward and going on because like listen, it's not but 10 years ago did like Spider-Man come out, so people should like kids still
It's
know
fresh
the
in the
yeah, everyone
consciousness,
knows
yeah.
the origin of Spider-Man.
Like it was well done. Like the way they retold his.
Oh yeah, like
Like it was really well done. Like him as what's his name, Garfield or whatever his name.
yeah,
is.
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Like they were really good.
Yeah,
Good chemistry
but
together.
I just
Yeah.
I was
Chemistry together.
bored. 50-minute mark. I look at my watch. And I'm like, how come he's still not Spider-Man?
exactly. So
But
you're
you
like,
know
I thought
what?
they were going to cover this in 10, 20 minutes.
yeah.
To be honest with you, that was one of the reasons I kind of liked the movie because at that point I forgot I was watching a Spider-Man movie and it felt like I was watching a
It felt
drama.
like Smallville, to be honest with you.
Okay,
The beginning
I don't
felt
think
like
it was
Smallville.
that cheesy as Smallville, but like I thought it was.
Breaks
I
the
really-
basketball backboard and beats up Flash Thompson. Like
John Ho loves his Smallville.
That was very Smallville. The beginning of the
loves
movie.
it.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that's why it's a disappointment. Where I was like, well, I know, cause I know for Mark Webb, like again, he Bionic Days of Summer is a really good movie, and I know like Sam Raimi left like doing Spider-Man 4 because his whole thing was like, I want to use John Malkovich, and then Sony was like, no, you're going to use Anne Hathaway as the Vulturess, and he's like, I'm out. So I see Sony has like a really kind of tight controls on this because they want to keep making Spider-Man movies. So I can't fully blame Mark Webb, but I could be like, listen, move faster and no more of the origin story nonsense. Just move forward.
Hey, you had to start back to introduce Gwen Stacy. So
Not particularly. You wouldn't have to. You shouldn't really have to start all the way from the beginning to introduce a new character.
well, they
Yeah,
had
but
he had the different web shooters. He had it was not organic. It was him
They
making
didn't.
everything.
Need,
and
they definitely did not need to do a reboot, but I think the reason they did the reboot was because they went back in time. The other Spider-Man movies, he was in university, so you would have had to probably cast somebody maybe a little bit older than Garfield. Like I think the movie did work. I did enjoy it. But again, it could have been a totally different movie. They could have just taken it after Spider-Man 4 and not called it Spider-Man 4. But
Yeah,
I don't know why they did it, but I liked what they delivered. I can't say I was disappointed in that one, but I wasn't expecting anything either
Yeah.
from it. I was probably expecting
What
it to
about
be
Lizard's
garbage.
face? You weren't disappointed in Lizard's face? Like I thought that was really stupid
Well,
looking.
What's kind of weird?
He had
though,
like this big freaking.
Big, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
like-
almost like a Joker
There's
grin
this
on
he
weird
it.
looked
thing that happens
really
in the movie
silly.
where
he
at
looked
one
like
point,
a Goomba from
Yeah.
Super Mario Brothers, the
See,
one with the Bob
He looked,
Hoskins.
he looked
He's-
really silly.
See, it's weird because there's one point in the movie where the lizard jumps on top of a car with those those tall boys of gas, and then he throws them out, guys are turning to lizards, and it's like they cut out a whole subplot where
Those guys didn't turn into lizards. Don't worry.
yeah, you see them turning into lizards, and they just cut that all out, and you're like, well,
Wore off.
what happened there? So it's like, well,
Well, I think that was at the point where the lizard was going to turn the whole city into the lizards,
Yeah.
and maybe the transformation process was longer,
Yeah.
so Spider-Man was able to save them.
it
or
seemed like
whatever.
there was something that kind of like a couple things that seemed like missing from it. I'm like, well, again, you're not a bad movie. You just
Maybe it's in the director's cut.
yeah, I'm hoping so.
Let's see, or deleted scenes.
Yeah, I just want more Spider-Man, and ideally, I want Marvel to have Spider-Man again.
Dude, let's just put more Hulk in front of that line before
Yeah.
more
Actually,
Spider-Man.
yeah, more
Let's
Hulk.
just see
Yeah,
more.
we
Let's see
need
more.
Listen, you're talking to a guy who's like, I'm a Hulk guy.
I'm just saying. Let's just put some more freaking Hulk. Shove that to the front, the V8 line, and move to the front.
Yeah.
And move everyone else back. Neil, go for it. What?
Well, it was Prometheus for me. It was the one that I was so looking forward to seeing that I ended up not seeing because of the negativity around it. I will eventually see it. I have a feeling I'll probably will be able to pick things out that I like about it, but just that sort
What
of.
did you see that you did not like or feel under?
Well, like Justin, I've sort of filter what I do watch, so I don't think I watched anything this year that I was just like,
Because our
Like,
taste is immaculate.
yeah.
Oh,
I
shut
like to think so.
That's
I don't. Again, I don't want to, crap on the Avengers or whatever. I found, the odd thing that I felt wrong with that, but overall it was a great movie. Same thing with the Dark Knight Rises. It was my pick of the year. Yeah, there were a couple of things that even I took issue with, but overall it was my, hands down favorite movie. So I really, I can't think of anything that I saw that I was just like.
Are you on Sony's payroll? What's going on? You're like really diplomatic. I didn't like any movies. Everything was fantastic.
Unfortunately, I'm just the thumbs up guy this year.
Yeah. John.
Expendables 2, as I mentioned, big disappointment to me. I think I just had too high expectations. Was expecting way too much from one movie.
Because all those guys made such amazing works of cinema.
Expendables 3 now, the fact that they're like, oh, Nicolas Cage is signed on, and
I think
all these different actors. What Clint Eastwood has been talks, and even more guys.
It's going to be a jumbled bunch of cameos again.
But they might lose the essence of what was going to make it good if they keep doing that.
Like Arnold, I think
a problem.
Yeah, Arnold was only on set for maybe 2 days or 3 days, and he got a lot of time in that movie considering he was only there 2 to 3 days. So the fact that they just threw that in there just because we wanted to have Arnold in there makes me kind of disappointed.
And he actually seemed like he was a little off his game. To be
he was totally
he was rusty.
especially if you just hop onto set for 2
really
days.
rusty.
Of course, you're going to feel out of place.
Yeah. I think that John makes a good point. It doesn't seem like a movie. It's like I would say it's the Ocean's 13
it's nostalgia.
It's
of movies. It's
almost like
these
an
guys
SNL
coming
skit
together
or
and they're
something,
having
in a
Oh,
way.
but the
But it's
Ocean's
not even
13 guys
done.
had chemistry at least. Like
No, but I'm
Clooney and
saying
Pitt and
Ocean-
Damon.
But in the last one, which was Ocean's 13, that was a terrible movie. That was just like, hey guys, I need a tax break. Let's get together and let's film a movie, but we'll just have fun with it. I think that's kind of what Expendables, was. So John's exactly right. It was mishmashed, and Clint Eastwood.
But they did so many-
what's the
Jason
guy?
Statham.
No,
Van Damme?
No.
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Norris.
Bruce Willis?
Chuck Norris was
Norris?
terrible in it, but
He kind of ruined the movie.
But he
I'd
was just
say.
it was like for me it was just cool.
Listen,
cool
I don't
to
know when
see it.
people are going to stop realizing that Chuck Norris just can't act. He never could act.
never could act, yeah.
Like
He
what?
was
Like
doing Chuck
stop.
Norris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone just stop. And
I don't know, Walker Texas Ranger had some moments.
Yeah, I'm saying. Remember Conan used to have the Walker Texas Ranger like
The lever,
and
yeah.
they would just play clips, and it was magical.
That's
What else did you not?
Total Recall. Like,
there it is. They were waiting for this.
I
Yes.
thought, I saw the trailer. I heard people badmouth it already, but some people would say, it's decent for action. So I'm like,
it's decent for Kate Beckinsale.
I'm
She's
like-
gorgeous in it.
yeah. So I figured out, I'm gonna like this. Even though I'm a huge Arnold fan, but even I don't really love that original Total Recall movie. I've probably only seen it like 3 times, which, if you take my tally of how many times I've watched Arnold movies, is very, very, very little.
yeah. Versus how many
but-
times he's seen Rated Lost Ark? 0.
Shut up, you. But anyways, like
seen
the whole
it.
movie, just the way it's actually started off, like it had me going especially the first bit where he's in the kind of China, looks like a rundown Chinatown type thing, and they have like the glass, like the phones in their hands, and they got the quick action and stuff, and then it just goes all downhill from there. Like the car chase scene was no good.
That movie had. I
Like-
was telling
Yeah,
Justin,
you were
there's
talking
no
about
reason for it to exist because the first Total Recall, the reason why I get mind wipe is because Quatu was a mutant, could read minds, so therefore you have to wipe the memory, so therefore you don't know he's an agent. This new guy doesn't read memory, so
but
any one of us could go
even
in and
if they
say,
wanted to use that other subplot, like they threw it together so quickly. All of a sudden, he literally steps off the subway car onto the base, and those guys must be setting up out back already.
Yeah.
Like, how do they bust through the door right when the program comes on the screen? Like, it's ridiculous. And then the whole, like, the movie just did not end. When I was like, okay, this is over. I'm done with this movie. I think it's over 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and
it's
something.
longer than it needs to be.
If they cut it to maybe an hour and a half, it might have.
Yeah. Actually, one of the things too is like just the unkillable Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
And you at the end when he's like, okay, it's all over, we're good, and he sees the girl, and it's like, oh, you have the both of your hand like I do. It's like, why are you trying to kill him now? Like, your boss is dead. What do you care? Like,
It's over. Get out of
You
there.
can just
Get
go
out of there.
home.
I think the problem was they probably cut the movie together and they're like, this movie sucks. Kate Beckinsale, you got to stay alive. Imagine if she died earlier on, how even worse the movie would have been.
Yeah. Well, remember she was Sharon Stone's character essentially, and like
but the difference between Kate Beckinsale and Sharon Stone is that
She's
Kate
not married to
Beckinsale's
the
married to the director.
Yeah.
Len Weissman. So therefore he's going to be in it
that guy
even
makes
longer.
nothing but
But
bad
you know what?
movies.
I think that movie suffered from the problem of, let's call it Total Recall. If they didn't call it Total Recall and did something,
It still would have been bad. It was
Well,
still way
no,
too
I'm,
long.
But I'm
It still
saying
would've been
it,
horrible.
but,
But
it,
yeah.
but it wouldn't because then Stu's absolutely right. The plot holes are there, and just like, why do they have to come up with such why does sci-fi have to have some super ridiculous thing? Oh, we've got a train that goes through the center of the earth. Really, you can't feed people, but you've got a train that's going to take people from England to Australia through the center of the earth.
Yeah.
Like that's just
Yeah.
like
The thing is,
okay,
though-
I can get behind that. But we can't build that ever because
Yeah.
the core is pretty hot. So if some alien race came down and said, "Hey guys, you want to get from one end to the next? We'll make this tunnel for you." Fine, but it's just ridiculous. How would you build that? How would you maintain it? What if the damn thing stopped for 4 seconds in the center? Oh, everybody's dead because
Yeah.
you know.
See, well,
it's
again,
just like
another
that's
thing
the-
of it,
it's
like
ridiculous.
Listen,
It's
when you-
ridiculous.
I find when you like have stuff based on Philip K. Dick stuff, it's like okay, you can like. It's okay that it's kind of like his stuff is super weird, so you have to scale that back a bit or change stuff like that's bound to happen. But at the same time, though, it's like listen, like yeah, like they never like go through the center. That makes no sense to anybody ever.
Well, the thing is, this movie felt the exact same situation of Red Dawn. Why is Asian looking? It's supposed to be New Asia, and that was supposed to be New Shanghai, and China was supposed to be like dilapidated and just like terrible. And then they realized, oh crap, we can't do this because Chinese people won't watch this movie. So let's just change it to like a new Pangaea or whatever the heck they named the
Yeah.
place. So they changed the whole motif, and it's like, oh, okay, this doesn't make sense anymore because the Asian themes are still everywhere. This still looks like China. So then they just rearranged all these different parts around. I think it was originally a train from England to China, so therefore it doesn't need to go to the center of the earth. But then we have to change, it's a penal colony, we're going to call it Australia. So there's all these different things they had to try to fix.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
Red Dawn, which is even more terrible. Why?
So Stu picks Red Dawn.
Oh, gosh.
Did you actually see
Oh,
that?
Why did you
Red
even
Dawn,
watch
goodness
that?
gracious.
Oh, dude.
Red Dawn wasn't good
Red-
to begin with.
Yeah,
let
the
alone,
first one was only good because you were a teenager, maybe. If you weren't
just-
a teenager, then you can't
It's-
get...
Toy
Well,
soldiers.
again, the
or,
problem
you
with
know.
the new Red Dawn was it seemed as though like it happened in a matter of like weeks.
But no,
and-
this,
You saw it, Justin?
Yeah, so
Wait, you didn't say it was the worst? You usually
You
pick
weren't
good
just-
movies?
I blocked it out. Well, okay, listen,
pick Spider-Man over Red
listen,
Dawn.
I had to.
It fell out of your head.
This girl wanted to go see the movie. And, so I went.
Excuse. Good,
So
okay,
you weren't
fine.
watching
Yeah.
the movie.
So, yeah, the girl wanted to go. Okay, got
yeah,
it.
but the thing they've done though with like with Red Dawn is like, well, this doesn't make sense because it like takes place over a matter of like weeks. When it's like you watch the original, even at least they have the sense to be like, hey, this is like a couple of years they've been doing this and not just. They get the Nicaraguans to change. It's not like a matter of days. But like, we shouldn't have come here. We shouldn't. Sorry, we invaded. We shouldn't. I'm gonna kill my own dudes and call
That's
it a day.
crazy.
Horrible.
Terrible. All right, well, that was... anyone else final thoughts before we conclude this year-end review of the Heroes World podcast?
What's the one movie we're all looking forward to next year the most?
I don't know. I think we should leave that for the next podcast.
What's on the top of your head? Like I'm thinking basically Thor for me. That's the one I'm sort of the most intrigued. I think it's going to be really good.
I don't think you've seen the new Oblivion trailer.
No, I have not.
Oh,
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I
it's
saw
like
the new Jack Reacher preview.
it's Wally. It's his interpretation. He's by himself fixing like drones.
Yeah, I was like, is this
Hey,
Wally
look,
live
you know what?
action?
I watched the trailer for that, and I got a feeling they're not going to pull it off because it looks like too much stuff's going on. And in the trailer already reveals kind of like this. It almost
like
looks
Wall-E
like
mixed with,
conspiracy, and then you're killing humans, and how are they here? And then you got a sub colony of people that have been on the planet, but the planet was supposed to be eradicated, and I'm just like, you guys are trying.
It's Wally
too
combined
hard.
with that Denzel
Yeah.
movie. What was the Denzel movie?
No, the blind one.
Yeah,
Oh,
where
that
he's
was
blind.
awesome, though.
Oh,
No, I'm just saying,
Brooklyn
like
Nine-Nine?
it's like they took those two concepts
But
and like
this,
combined
but
them.
again, we're talking about good trailers. We're not talking about good movies because I can name 30 trailers
You
that
know
look
what I'm
fantastic
most
and
looking
movies
for?
look terrible.
And I think it's coming out next year. Monsters University, is that what it's called?
yeah.
Monsters Inc. 2.
Yeah.
That looks. I was just saying,
Yeah,
like,
can we-
can't. More Mike Wazowski.
Django
does
Unchained.
that does sound great, but at the same time, though, why are we dicking around here? And where's my Incredibles 2?
That's true.
Is Incredibles 2 coming out?
No,
No, it's not gonna
But
happen.
No,
that's
no.
the problem.
yeah, that is the huge problem. Where's my
We're talking about
Incredibles
what's
2?
coming out. I'm the Wally.
But Monsters Inc. was older than Incredibles, so
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
Incredibles,
Yeah, I think so.
But they don't
Next
traditionally do
Untapped.
sequels, so maybe now they will
They
get
do.
it.
They do all the time now. Apparently,
Well,
with
now
Cars
that
2
Cars
and,
started-
and Finding
Cars
Nemo
2 is
2.
tanked, though, right?
Don't tell me Finding Nemo 2
Yeah,
is coming.
Finding Nemo 2. And
They
they're
found
again-
him. He's going to get lost again. He's
Yeah.
big now.
Silly,
not a-
silly fish.
You understand something?
Yeah.
Listen, fish don't.
He's gonna be taken.
3
Do his
weeks.
father.
Yes.
Yeah, let's go. Listen very carefully on the fish. I'm gonna find you.
Maybe Nemo will lose
I have a
his son.
particular set of skills.
Gills.
Skills. Yeah,
Yeah, fish skills. I know you're allergic to
Actually,
seafood. I will
yeah.
find you. I'll get a
piece of
lobster.
gills.
Yeah, you will die. You know what? I'm fine with Finding Nemo if they give me more Defoe. More William Defoe.
Yeah.
Let's not forget his magnificent role in Finding Nemo as Gil. So, with the one fin smaller than the other one. But let's just say it's fine. All right. Well, long podcast. But anyways, thank you all for listening. Let's. Where can we find more of you on the World Wide Web, Justin?
You can find me on Twitter at thisjustin42.
Andre?
Heroes-world.com and Heroes World Citizen and Heroes World on Facebook.
Neil?
My weekly column on CNN.com. Just kidding.
No, 2013.
Yeah, exactly. That's my first. Actually, I shouldn't have said that. Sorry. Forget you heard that.
CNN.com.
I'm on the forums.
back./eu.unc.fake.php.cnn. Maybe this is not real.net.
Andre's got the web stuff covered, so come to the shop, York Region area, directly in the northeast corner of Warden and Highway 7. Very large plaza. We got tons of stuff in here, so not only can you come see us at Heroes World, you can hit up Future Shop, you can hit up Shoppers Drug Mart, you can hit up No Frills.
Well, look at the plugs.
You can hit up Second Cup, you can hit up McDonald's. Like it's all here, including Heroes World. So I don't know
Especially
what's
if
not
it's
covered.
Wow. Well, I was gonna drop the. We do lots of events here, so
Yeah.
come on if you play. I was gonna say Overpower. What was it?
Overpower. Hey, there actually might be a new gathering of Overpower.
Yeah,
players
if you play
coming
Street
up in the new year.
Street Fighter or Magic
Street
the
Fighter,
Gathering.
Magic, 40K.
I know we have
War
a-
Machine,
We have a
board
good
games.
Dungeon Dragons. I know we have a good DM that has lots of. I believe he does a multimedia presentation with the D&D group. So
Crazy
swing on
talk.
by. It's pretty fun. So thanks all for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Happy New Year.
Be seeing you.
Happy holidays.